But do me a favor, if you have time, I would love for you to visit my house and see something that I have. I want to show you. I have to leave Amsterdam after this event. I have to, kind of leave quickly. And you could see the hurt in her eyes. I just floored this lady. And, so she left and she says, I'm going to just leave my address with the front desk. And if you can, I would love, it would be an honor for you to visit me. And so the rep that showed up about an hour or two later, I said, bro, this woman wants, I said, Ricky, we really don't have time. We have to get you to the next event that evening. I said, bro, this girl, this lady is 86 years old. Bless her heart, took 3 buses to get here to see me. Let's go by her house. And we went to her apartment. The apartment is very small. And thank God I did that, because it really kind of changed my life. But I went in and she said, we sat down. She had a little cup of coffee, some cookies for us. Like, I don't want your cookies or your coffee, but all right, so we're here. What do you want to share? And she's, Ricky, through the guy, the gentleman I'm with, I want to show you something. Pick any band, any cigar you've worked on, and I'll show you that band. I said, okay. How about, Osa? That was the first cigar that we ever made with the CAO. Oh, so she goes to this little bookshelf and she has albums. So I thought it was photo albums. And she's looking, searching. She got one, but here it is. Really? Okay. I made a cigar called Concert. It was on the market for about 18. Oh, Concert. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boom, here it is. Okay. This is kind of, they don't have OSA R at that time Concert. So how do you get these bands? I found out later. So she goes on and says, name any cigar. I said, oh, how about a band that my master Benji made? His last cigar was an H. Hutman from Cuba in 1963. Oh, here it is. Okay, there's no way. Okay, how about I made a cigar called Left Coast and Right Coast. We only made 1,000 boxes per right and left, and she had that. And said, okay, why do you collect these and how do you collect them? I have friends all over the world. Any cigar that's made, they send me the bands and I collect them. And she started to show me, Sean, Laurel, she had over, I would estimate some of this thing over 500,000 to
Wow.
$1 million in bands and art and collectors. I mean, I said, how long you been collecting? He says, after the war, I was maybe 22 years old, and my husband says all the girls are meeting. They live in an apartment complex. They're all meeting on Tuesday night, and they're starting to collect things. So you need to go down there and start this friendship with these girls or ladies. And she went there, and they're collecting dolls and other shit, tea sets. And he says, I'm not into that. But my husband enjoyed the pipe. So I started to collect pipes and then got into cigars bands in 1948. And I've been collecting from 1948 to the date I met her. And she had me signed, but that just, thank God I spent that little bit of time. We spent maybe a half an hour in her apartment that she should show me the history of cigar making from 1948 to the present. And it was something I never, ever will forget. That a little old lady in Amsterdam that had every cigar she had cigars that I was making for La Gloria, a Series N, Tapacados, everything. It was amazing. Matter of fact, I started to send her bands, and then I found out she passed away about a year ago. And then she donated all this collection to a gentleman that she formed this friendship with, and she says, I won't do this. I don't care what you do, how you show this, but I never want you to sell these cigar bands to the open market. I just want you to find a museum that you can donate it after you're done with it. And he's going to donate all these cigars bands to some museum for the, for everybody to enjoy for the future. And that is my story. That it really was heartfelt. I mean, dropping. I can. How did you get these? How did you get these? Every brand that we made, she had. Punch.
Could you imagine
Hoya.
if you hadn't gone and you didn't have that experience?
Yes. And for her to take 3 buses to see me, like I wouldn't take a taxi to see me, not 3 buses. I would take one Uber to see me.
At least you're self-aware.
Yeah. I can't wait till you answer that last question of the night.
Oh, perfect.
All right. So
that's a really cool story, though, Rick. I'm happy you had that experience.
Yeah, I have too.
Yep. And Laura, you have to go next because I'm not.
Oh, I have to go next. All right. I was thinking about this a lot because I know we had the question last week, and I was thinking about like fun, different experiences that I had. But honestly, probably the most memorable experience is just going down to my home shop on a beautiful day. And there's certain Saturdays that that'll just work out. Like Alex and I will go down there to have a cigar and sit outside, and one person comes, they're like, oh, hey, come join us. And then another person, then another person, then another person. And all of a sudden, after 2 or 3 hours, you're like, how have I been here this long? And you just slowly collect all of these people. And especially after I stopped working at the shop, I don't get to see those people as often. And it ends up being an all-day affair with just the best people. You're like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be down here. And you order lunch, or you go walk down to the lakefront with the cigars. And it's just, to me, is the perfect allegory for what cigar smoking is. It's just a community, and it's sometimes the experiences that aren't planned are the best ones. And that is probably just, it's not like one particular experience, but occasionally just kind of the perfect storm of cigar smoking and people joining you happens in one day. So that's probably in general my favorite experience. But beyond that, probably our wedding, just being able to have all of our favorite cigar smokers and all these people from all walks of life coming together and being able to celebrate together. So not as detailed as yours, but just the general community smoking experience, and just not planning and having just the best day ever with all of your friends.
Yeah. I don't know. I've had a few memorable experiences, like enjoying a cigar, and you look around and you think, I can't believe I'm in this place having a cigar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to beat like skiing, in Deer Valley, having a cigar. That's the scenery is just absolutely amazing. But
being
so
at Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah, for Sean, who was that person that you smoked a cigar with at that event that you will always remember? Was a chef, a movie star? Who was that person that you met? Like, bro, this is interesting because this guy's cool. It was because I know you smoked some cigars for someone.
Funny enough, and I mean, I've had cigars with a few famous people. I mean,
right.
Of all the cigar smoking experiences at Sundance, the coolest one probably was with R.J. Mitty, the guy from he was the kid from Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
It was just kind of so. He was so down to earth, so cool. He's from Southwest Louisiana. But like, it was just like immediately he comes up to me and they introduce him to me, and of course I know him. And he comes up and he gives you the bro hug, like immediately, like, and he's like, yo, you gonna smoke with me? And I'm thinking like, well, shit, of course, right? So that was probably just like the cool, because he was just the most, just like unpretentious, down to earth, and just,
Right. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Real chill. But my probably most as far as experiences, when I really kind of looked around and said, "Wow, this is heavy," is having a cigar on the Speaker of the House's balcony in D.C.
Mm.
That was, just
The
standing there.
power, the power.
Yeah, and and looking out at the mall and looking across, to all of the institutions of power in our government, and having a cigar there. That was just like, and I was just thinking like what kind of dumb luck? How to end up like here?
Yeah.
Irrespective of the politics, it's just about
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
person third in line to the presidency. This is their private balcony, and I'm there with 4 or 5 other people having a cigar. That was just like wow, that really showed me the power of cigars.
Yeah. Humbling to you?
Sorry?
Was it humbling?
Absolutely.
Just kind of feel like,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. It's humbling, especially when you think about the number of people in Congress versus 320 million people in America, and how concentrated that power is. Like,
yeah.
A lot about it. Like, just walk around DC in general. Like you see it on TV, but when you see it at the White House, you see you see these buildings, but to actually be in them, walk through them, and then eventually have a cigar on the Speaker of the House's balcony. That was just like
wow.
That was pretty cool.
That is very
but
cool.
some of the touching moments or touching stories I hear all the time is, it doesn't start with that powerful guy, the movie star. It's always, my last cigar with my father, my last cigar with my grandfather before he passed away. I remember we're out in the deck and we're smoking, and I realized he's going to, not be with us. And those really tug on my heart. It really does, because those are the moments that we're always looking for, that great conversation, that connection with your friends. Like you're saying, it's just a simple, we're just going to a local shop, sitting down, but something magical happened that evening, that the conversation, the cigar smoking, everything just lined up to be beautiful.
And honestly, some of the best times I have smoking cigars is like after the trade show. It's maybe the last night or the second to last night, and you're all exhausted, and you found yourself this little group of people, because as the night goes on, the group dwindles, and it's like, the last people at 2-3 in the morning, and you're smoking your 17th cigar that day. But it's just enjoyable. And I think we're very lucky to work at a company that we have so many great people, because even as exhausted as I may be, to sit down with, one of you guys or our reps or whoever else, and just be able to like, yes, I love sleep, but I want to be here. I want to be here enjoying the cigar in your company. And those are just the best times.
Yeah. All right.
Hopefully that was thorough enough.
Yeah. It's go time, girls and guys. So, all right. So this is going to be simple. All I need to do is going to ask you a question, and there's 2 or 3 answers, and you just mark down on your sheet of paper 1, 2, or 3. And the first one we'll ask is a simple one, and it's going to be, do you prefer to smoke a natural or Maduro? So Maduro would be number 2, and natural would be number 1. So just write down your answer, show everybody, and we'll go from there.
All right. So what are we smoking? Let's start out with that. What are you smoking?
I'm smoking the Spectre from Cohiba right now.
Nice.
So,
I'm smoking
cigar
a green.
That's Sean.
And I'm at the opposite end of Cohiba, smoking the blue.
That's awesome. Good dichotomy there.
Yeah. All right. So just and again, just write down a 1 or 2. 1 is natural, and Maduro is 2. What do you prefer, and why?
Well, okay. So, do we get any clarification here? Like when we say natural, are we classifying natural as anything that's non-Maduro?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of broad.
For sure. Yeah.
Anything
So
that's non-Maduro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do we show our answers? Ooh, that was really bad.
Yeah.
Do we show our answers?
Sean, yeah.
Why don't we just answer it?
No, because I'll explain. 1. Okay, perfect. And so why one? Okay, John, why one?
Well, because I really like Maduros, but
Okay.
I'm pretty profile specific with Maduros. And the very first cigar I ever made was a
Yes.
Maduro. I
Okay.
really loved them. But then as I got into, there's just more variety when you get into from stuff as mild as a classic Connecticut
Yes.
shade
Yes.
to
Yes.
something as spicy as a Corojo or something as bright and floral as a Rosado, or even you can kind of get close to a Maduro within a Oscuro, but it's not quite.
Yeah.
I think there's
Exactly.
just more variety if you're not just segmented right in the Maduro lane.
And
All
I
right,
would agree
Laura?
100% with that. I love Maduro, I do, but I agree with Sean in that I would prefer the variety. And I think you have more of a range of flavors that you can achieve with a
Yes.
non-Maduro.
Yes.
And
Yes.
some of the cigars that I find to be my favorite are not of a Maduro wrapper. So as much as I love it, you know, if you were to say Connecticut shade compared to Connecticut broadleaf, I would be inclined to choose a broadleaf.
Right.
But if you were to give the entire variety of a non-Maduro compared to that, number one is my answer for those reasons.
I think we went through a period in this industry where I think people got really lazy as it related to blending Maduros.
Yes.
Because it was all about just,
Yes. Yeah.
how dark the wrapper can be, how strong it can be, whatever. So
like it's a Maduro, it's fine. I just put a Maduro wrapper on it, you're good.
Yeah. I think you really got to bring your game when you're working with other stuff. So
what I want to show the fans is, if you are that guy that's kind of stuck in that, Maduro phase or natural, it's, it just shows you there's some to offer you in naturals and Maduro. So that's the reason we're doing that. All right. So the second question I want to ask you now, if you had to work with this region only for the next 5 years, and Central American region, so Central America, including, I'm going to include Ecuador in that Central American region. It's not a part, but are the rest of the world. What would you choose? So from
does that include the Dominican? Because I don't think that the Dominican is technically.
Dominican is Caribbean.
No, that's going to.
Yeah. Okay.
So anything from
Central America plus Ecuador
would be Ecuador.
Wait. So this is a number? We're saying how are we answering this question?
All we're going to do, one would be Central America with Ecuador, or two, any other country besides Central America. That's going to include U.S. Tobacco from Cuba, tobacco from the DR, tobacco from Brazil, any other country, any other region. But if you're looking at Central America, we're going to look at Mexico,
Honduras,
Nicaragua, plus Ecuador. Yeah,
Peru.
Exactly. So, and if you have to work on a project for the next 5 years, but only blend with that for the wrapper from that region, what
for the
would
wrapper?
You choose? For the wrapper.
Okay, not the entire cigar.
No, just the wrapper. Just the wrapper.
That changes things slightly.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
But I still think I can stick with my answer.
Okay.
Wait, which was Rick? Which one was Central America and two was everywhere else?
Exactly.
Okay, well I'm sticking with the one that I wrote.
Okay. I'm gonna do this. Laurel, what?
Wait. No, you ain't.
Yeah. What about you? Yeah.
What's your answer?
Is that no? Okay, that's my show. It's my show.
What are you, Alex Trebek? No, what's your answer?
I still have to answer the questions that we asked on the other shows.
I have to answer them?
Yeah.
Yes, because you're asking us questions that's going to offend our factories in other countries. You have to answer the question too.
I would pick two. I would pick two.
Other. Interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I would. Because again, I'm a really big fan right now of Brazilian tobacco. I think that tobacco I would love to play with more and more and more. Cuba, if I ever kind of get the opportunity.
No, you can't. That's not on the table. That's not.
It's not realistic because we can't use it.
Yeah, that's not in
okay.
Even if it was, honestly, it wouldn't change my answer.
Okay,
but it's not in the equation.
My answer is still two.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So now going back to this question, Sean,
Yeah.
what would be your favorite country out of that region?
I'm not doing that, Rick. I'm not doing that with you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not doing that with you.
Okay.
I would say Central America because that gives me access. I mean, just think about the last 3 cigars that the last 4 cigars that we released,
Right.
from Silencio to Connecticut to, well, taking the first Spectre out, but Spectre 2019 to Royale. 3 of those cigars have Jalapa Nicaraguan wrappers, and the Connecticut has an Ecuadorian shade wrapper.
Okay.
You know, and all of them have pretty, substantial quantities of Nicaraguan tobacco.
Yeah,
certainly. Hell, the cigar I'm smoking is pretty much all Central American. Honduran wrapper, Honduran binder, Honduran, Nicaraguan filler. Of course, there's Piloto Cubano, which is sort of a signature throughout. So, and that's not, but in doing that, you're saying that I won't have access to Cameroon, which Cameroon is obviously.
Well, yeah, he just picked one, so yeah.
That's the great.
Gone.
But if you put a gun to my head and said you have to, because Cameroon is the wrapper, but I would need other components, and I think I could live in Ecuador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Costa Rica, even.
Mexico. Again, there's a lot of. Yeah. There's a lot of versatility with that choice. And for Macanudo specifically, we're using a lot from Ecuador. And kind of similar to what Sean was saying, not only the wrappers, but there's so much concentrated in Central America that we're using Honduran, Nicaraguan, Mexican, Ecuador. And I think, yes, I love the Brazilian wrapper. I love a Cameroon wrapper. There's a lot of great tobacco coming from elsewhere, and it's not to say that I don't.
The U.S. The U.S. has Connecticut shade, Connecticut broadleaf.
If I had to work with only those 2 choices, I still stand by one. You
didn't say a country, you said a region. So with the region, if we talk about from Mexico all the way down to Ecuador, it's hard not to take that piece of geography. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now your rationale was because of Brazil specifically?
Yeah, because of Brazil, it's just, I think they were a cusp, but doing some great things. I know that a lot of manufacturers want to start to use more Brasilia.
Brazil is getting tough though, man. I mean, you know how hard it is to get out of
it is. But if we had all the stars lined up, that you have access to any tobacco, is not a problem. I think for me, for the next 5 years, I would definitely concentrate on U.S. tobacco, Cameroon tobacco, and the Brazilian tobacco over my favorite region in Central America would be Ecuador. That is, if I had to use one of those 2 countries for the next 5 years, Ecuador.
Ecuadorian wrapper is that's sort of the workhorse of the industry right now, as opposed to you remember 12 years ago, it was the Habano 2000 wrapper was like the workhorse of it was a Labrador retriever, so to speak, for sure. In Ecuador now, I mean, much better variety than what the Habano 2000 was. I mean, incredible wrappers coming out of Ecuador. You can really do some great stuff.
And it's a hard choice. I mean, look what I'm smoking now.
It
is
our
Paraca.
So kind of that's the reason I kind of made that question. So question 3, when you visit a factory, do you like to spend, this is just spending time because you're now away from blending, you're away from your team and all that, just spending time and walking around. Do you rather spend 1 on the floor of your factory or 2 in fermentation and aging of the factory? Which is more what you want to, if you have downtime and have a half an hour, set aside, it's Ricky, you can do anything you want. Where do you go? The factory floor.
So one is the floor, 2 is the tobacco.
And the tobacco processing.
You also have to answer this one, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay.
This goes for all of these questions.
Okay. 2 is aging and fermentation.
Yeah.
2. I think we have a clean sweep. 2 for me. I love the floor. I love to see these guys roll cigars, the techniques, but I want to learn every time I go to the factory about fermentation and aging and how that really affects our cigars. So perfect, guys.
In my opinion, every aspect of producing a cigar is equally as important. Whether it be putting the cigar in the cellophane or making sure that that aging process is exactly what we want it to be. But kind of like you said, there's so much variation in aging and fermentation to be able to achieve what we're looking for.
I was going to say that. Yeah. There's not as much, variation in how the cigars are rolled from factory to factory.
Right. I agree.
There are no two factories that are alike in the way that they age the tobacco.
And you can take tobacco. I mean, kind of the analogy that I always use is if you are given, 3 chefs are given the same exact cut of meat, the way that they prepare it will be wildly different. And that's exactly what happens in that process. So being able to sort of gain more knowledge and insight as to why these things happen or what we are doing to make that cigar, that tobacco so unique. That's where I find a lot of personal value.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, the time I spent, my downtime is always in fermentation. And that's hard area to go and visit. It is very hard. So it's not fun. It's fun. It's on the factory floor watching these guys roll cigars. But when you go to that situation of fermentation, aging, and curing, and all that, but there's so much to learn. So much to learn.
Yeah.
All right. So number 4, if you had to work with one of these 2 things in your cigar for the next 5 years and the same thing, would you work with only the same wrapper for the next 5 years or the same blend for the next 5 years and change your wrapper, or the same wrapper but you have the ability to change your blend? What do you think?
What's
so you're saying same like meat and potatoes, like same binder filler but a different wrapper, or same wrapper?
So wrapper. All right. Number 1 would be wrapper. I would work with the same wrapper for the next 5 years, being able to change my blend. Or you're going to, number 2, work with the same wrapper, but be able to change your blend.
No,
the question is it the same? Is it the same tobacco or the same tobacco in the same growing region? Like if I'm using Connecticut shade, can I grow Connecticut shade in Connecticut, Ecuador, wherever?
Yes.
So I have a variety of regions.
And you can also priming and all of that. So what do you want to do? Use the same wrapper, number 1, or the same filler, number 2. Number 2. So you would use the same wrapper.
But, given that I have a variety of growing regions. Yes. That is my answer.
Is that what you're saying? Like really? Like
so if you could again, you have 5 years of working a cigar.
5 years.
Use one
I know
wrapper.
what you're saying. But so it's not really one wrapper. It's one region or one area.
It's one leaf. It's one leaf. It's one tobacco. It's Connecticut broadleaf or Connecticut shade or Habano. So you can use Habano, but you can grow it literally anywhere. So it's one leaf as opposed to one same like guts of the cigar.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's what he was saying, but if that's what you're saying, I take that because I could take that variety and grow it in different places. Is that what you're saying though?
Yes.
Oh, well,
you can grow. You can grow your wrapper anywhere. If you want to use a Connecticut broadleaf, you can grow it in U.S.
I'm taking number 1. I'm taking the same wrapper and I'm just growing it in different places. Yeah.
Right.
No, but that's number 2.
That's number 2, because you're going to change your blend. You want to change your blend.
Well, right? Whatever it is.
So your answer, Sean, is same wrapper, different binder filler.
Yes.
Okay,
we're
all on the same page.
Yes, I would do.
Okay.
Because the variation, I can make that Macanudo from Connecticut broadleaf so different by using different regions and different primings.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I thought you were saying like it would have to be the same, Connecticut broadleaf from the Connecticut River Valley in the U.S. That was, So
that's why I wanted to clarify because I don't want to use only Ecuador and Connecticut.
Okay. All right, so that's That was a tough question. Number 5. What do you prefer cutting your cigar? With a guillotine, V-cut, or other?
I mean, other is really broad.
Exactly.
So
Really
what is it? Say
broad.
again?
So guillotine cut, just a regular cut for your number 1. V-cut or other. So Sean, you pick guillotine. That's your perfect cut.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of you guys agree. I would pick number 3, other, because I use my thumb to open. I never used a tool to open up my cigar, but I would do number
Problem is, Ricky, we
3.
know what your thumbs have been.
Yeah. Rick, here's my response to that. My
Yeah.
first inclination was to choose 3 because
yeah.
I 90% of the time use my thumb as well.
Mhm.
However, on the Inspirato Black, the cap is too thick to use my thumb. If I'm smoking a Torpedo or a Perfecto or anything that doesn't have just your standard cap, you have to use a guillotine.
Exactly.
So that would be my choice why I would choose 1, because I couldn't use my thumb to do that. And I prefer a straight cut.
Okay. Number 6, when choosing cigars, do you choose it for the length or the gauge? So the length would be number 1, gauge would be number 2. Number 2, ring gauge. I agree. I think for myself, I don't really care about the length as much as the ring gauge. I'm not a fan of this 70 ring gauge. So that is going to take that. I don't care how long that cigar is or short that cigar is. I'm not a fan of that large ring gauge.
Yeah.
So gauge is very important to me to judge what I'm going to smoke.
Agreed. And I mean, lengthwise, I prefer something more of like probably Toro size, like 6.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ring gauge, I won't not smoke a cigar because it's shorter or longer than I would prefer. I will refuse a cigar if the ring gauge is too big.
Too big.
Yes. For sure.
Let's take a quick break here and answer a couple of questions before we continue. We have one from Jake asking, why don't many brands use candelas anymore when almost all cigars were candelas before Maduros were the in thing?
Well, candelas was popular. You talking that what the old English market selection that was kind of well before the popularity of Maduros. But I don't know, Rick, you go ahead and I'll wait.
I think it's going back to the question last week was, why don't we make more Lanceros? Because marketing drives what we make, and so that style of cigars, sales. So that style of cigars are on the market, but we see that sales not growing, not losing market, but it's just
super niche market.
It really is. So that is the reason.
I'm not a huge fan of candela.
Yeah.
A barber, like a good barber pole I can do, but just like a straight candela.
Yeah. So what do you do that once a year for St. Patty's Day, maybe?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to what's the group that does that? Alan Bradley. Does that release every St. Patty's Day?
The Filthy Hooligan.
Yeah.
La Flor Dominicana doesn't do a bad one. They did like the double candela or the double claro.
Roma Crab does one, the Black Irish, I think it's called.
Do you have still in your line, Laurel? I know that we had a Jade back in the day. Is this still in the market, or is all off the market? Yeah.
No, we don't do anything with that anymore. Like you're saying, it's a very niche market. They're not super popular. They're kind of a pain in the ass, quite frankly, to work with. They're very delicate. And that's one of those things that when I worked retail, I was in retail for 6 years, and I maybe, to my recollection, had 3 people ever look for a candela, like ask me for a candela.
My question to you, older or younger?
The person that asked the question, I would think that they maybe have an interest or like candela. So don't change that. That's great. Smoke. Just understand from a broader perspective. It's just not something that's popular enough to really dedicate production resources to. It's just But if you have a good one that you like, by all
Yeah.
means, continue to
Oh
enjoy.
yeah, for sure. That's the beauty of cigar smoking.
Yeah.
You smoke and enjoy what you enjoy.
Oh, exactly.
You're not. I'm not smoking a cigar for anybody else but me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And
So
I would argue that it's easier to get somebody who smokes candela onto something non-candela than it would be for someone who doesn't to try that, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
You know, and we have one more question from Corey on YouTube. How can I learn to expand my palate to find different flavors and notes? I assume from the cigars.
Cigar World, good place to start.
yeah, Cigar World would get you the information you want to find out about that style and then judge it. But at the end of the day, when you're trying a new style, a new wrapper, a new blend, smoke it on a clean palate and really experience that flavor and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
don't get into too much of I read the description and it's black pepper and cherries and earth, and I didn't taste that. And then again, what did you enjoy? What you
Well,
enjoy is what you enjoy.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the profiles are what you pick up. That's so subjective. That's different from
Yeah,
person to person.
yeah,
But the big
yeah,
thing is enjoy different cigars.
yeah.
Don't be afraid
Yeah.
to try something because it's dark, or don't look at something and say, "Oh, I don't like mild cigars. It's too light." What the hell is that?
Right. A bat.
That was the
And I
combo, man. What was that?
Rick, I agree saying smoke it on a clean palate. And I wouldn't get too crazy with pairings, but I would recommend trying more simple pairings. Try it with some dark chocolate. Try it with cashews or almonds. Try it with something that could maybe bring certain cigars to the forefront. Rick, I remember when I first started with Macanudo, you went on Amazon and you sent me this whole booklet of like different oils and smells
Right.
and to kind of help me expand my palate. And you might not necessarily have to go that avenue, but it's worth. Retrohale is also a big one too. That's
There we
going to
go.
really bring out some of those flavors. If you don't know what retrohaling is, some certain cigars, I don't know if you guys are able to do it. I can only do it on certain cigars.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of helps. Sean, what is his face?
Retrohale.
Like,
You don't
yeah.
retrohale?
No, I'm saying I don't do it with all of my cigars.
Huh. Okay.
I don't do it every time I smoke a
Yeah.
cigar.
Yeah,
I do
if
it
smoking
to
something for
test
the
the
first time, I
body.
absolutely do it.
Yeah.
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 The reason
Um,
I do it is to test the body of that cigar.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing I'm trying to see. Because
Yeah.
if it's full body cigars, you're going to tear up.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to know that
Yeah.
you're smoking a full body cigar.
Yeah. But I
So
would
that's
recommend
great.
just do some simple pairings, drink a glass of wine, drink a
Yeah.
glass of scotch, eat some chocolate, eat some cherries, just try doing different things to maybe amplify those flavors. But I agree, smoke it on a clean palate and really sit down and think about it. Don't do it while you're distracted either.
So I think this is a great question I can answer. It's not on my list of questions, but it's a great question to ask. Do you prefer to clean your palate with soda water, a cracker, a coffee, a banana? What do you clean your palate with? If you have to, when we're, sampling cigars and you have 2 or 3 or 5 cigars you need to smoke that day, you have to clean your palate some way. So what
When
do
I
you do?
when I'm doing my Fuma tastings,
Mhm.
typically if I have the opportunity, or quite frankly, if I remember,
Yeah.
I'll pick up a bag of like Dove dark chocolate, and
Okay.
between each Fuma, I will pass out a piece of dark chocolate. And that to me,
Excellent.
like the bitterness kind of helps cleanse between the
Yes.
Fumas.
Yeah.
I personally, if I'm smoking just recreationally, cigar to cigar to cigar, I don't typically cleanse my palate.
I agree.
But if I'm doing any sort of like blend testing or Fumas, I try to do dark chocolate or like an almond or something.
Sean?
For me, it's coffee and maybe a cracker.
Coffee for me.
And coffee is important to me because that's a familiar experience. I mean, I'm going to have cigars in the normal rotation of life with coffee on a lot of times. So those dynamics are familiar to my palate. So it doesn't matter how many cigars I'm having during the day when we're blending. I mean, coffee still works.
We're always talking about pairings. I think today the best pairing is coffee. It's just a best pairing to pair a cigar with. And kind of black coffee with no sugar, no cream, because it really cleanse your palate and all that. So yeah. All right. So going back, when you are testing blends and you have blends that you bring back home, do you find yourself smoking that one, smoking alone to test that blend? Do you prefer to bring over a group or a friend that you trust their palate and smoke with them? So the question again, when you're working on a new blend, would you choose to smoke that new blend alone to judge it, or with a friend? I agree. I agree. The
Okay.
more input we can get from those, especially guys that we know understand what we're trying to do, understand what we're doing, and the feedback would be positive or negative. Because I've had,
Also people that are close to you who are not afraid to tell you like, yo, this is not the one, dude.
yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
yes,
You
You
know?
know,
yes,
you
yeah.
want them to be honest. Like I always, if I have the opportunity, I always try to do it with Alex, if my husband.
Okay, yeah,
And like we were doing, I had a couple samples for a newer Macanudo we were developing, and we came
mhm,
outside, and I was like, "Hey, we're each gonna start one," and we kind of like shared and talked about it, and like legitimately had a notebook. I was like, upon first puff, I liked this one better, and he's like, "I agree," but as we're getting into it, it's opening up, and it's nice to be able to have that conversation, and we both have very different palettes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for both of us to come to the conclusion and say, like, this is the one, like, ultimately, I'm not trying to say, oh, my opinion is better or more valuable than someone else's. Like, ultimately, the deciding factor is not going to be my friend or my husband or whoever. But like, it's nice to have that
Validation.
group, and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, that validation from somebody who I know has a very different taste preference in cigars, for us to come to the same conclusion and say this is the
Yeah,
winner.
listen, and Gene says it best. Don't get caught into sucking from your own exhaust pipe, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great,
Yeah.
a
You
great,
can't be,
yeah,
so I may think something's good, but when we're in the factory or when we have these innovation summits in Miami and we're smoking it, like it's hard to trust your palate sometimes. So when you come home, take a deep breath,
Hmm.
you let your palate rest and you start smoking, you think, okay, this is still good, but like it gets tricky. So especially if you got some very, very close similarities between the blends. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have somebody to bounce that off of to
Oh
make sure
yeah.
yeah,
you're not, yeah.
And Sean, your point was great about, having people close to you be honest with you. Like, I
oh
don't
yeah,
want to give this cigar to a group of people who are going to just like, you know, blow smoke at me,
Yeah.
haha, and tell me it's great. Like, I don't want you to all lie to me. Like, if it's not good or if something needs to
yeah.
be tweaked or changed, like, I trust you to tell me that, because
That's the reason
we're
why I'm
not going to
smoking a cigar
benefit.
with you. I think exactly. That's the reason I'm smoking a cigar with you, because
Yeah.
you're going to tell me your opinion. You're
Yeah.
not trying to suck up to me to
Yeah.
get another free cigar. So yeah, for
Well,
sure.
that's what friends are for. If I'm designing something in my house that looks terrible, or if I'm not sure about, like, I'll send a video. I'm like, what do you think of this? Because I think it's cool, but if it looks dumb, I need you to tell me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right. So number 8. What is your favorite time to smoke a cigar in? Number 1, morning time. Number 2, late afternoon or afternoon. Or number 3, evening.
Hmm. That's tough, man, because that
Yeah,
depends on the time of the year and
yeah.
for
Number
different
1.
demos.
I feel like I'm answering these very quickly.
No, no. Number 3. Okay. I would vote number 1 for me. But
Okay.
I think the best cigar of the day, your palate is so clean, so ready for a cigar, because in the late afternoon, evening, you ate something, you drank something, unless you're, that guy brushing your teeth. And even if you do brush your teeth, it's different. So I would say number 1.
For
And
me, it's
Sean,
usually
number,
everything is done and it's
okay.
quiet,
Yeah.
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
have no distractions. So,
Hmm.
and I think about when we're traveling, I'm on the road, and we'd run all day with the PSMs. We do an
Hmm.
event,
Hmm.
and you've been smoking cigars kind of all day, but man, there's
Hmm.
nothing like that last cigar when you get back to the hotel room
Right.
at the end of the night.
Right.
You can really just kind of relax and take a deep breath and get into the cigar.
Yeah.
And we have our meetings. You know, what's the first thing we get back? Hey, I'll meet y'all back for a cigar. And it doesn't matter what we did that day, you know, how many cigars we had, whatever. We always look forward to in the evenings. Just that's when we can kind of just really kind of relax and kick back. And I mean, I love a morning cigar, but you know, just when all else fails, I can look forward to an evening cigar. I'm not always able to do a morning cigar just based on
right. The hectic schedule.
Yeah.
I think part of it for me is like an experience thing. I love the mornings. The mornings are my favorite part of the day. I'm habitually an early riser. And there's just something.
I'm not a morning person.
I know. Yeah.
There's just something about
I'm evil in the morning. Evil.
Like the cleanness of the new day, not just the palate, but like, especially on the weekends, being able to come out, bring a tea or a coffee and a book or listen to, an album. And I just sit out on the patio and smoke a cigar.
I hear birds chirping right now.
Right. Yeah.
There's just something about, it's not just cigars in the morning. It's like anything in the morning for me. It's just, everything is better.
New beginning.
Yeah, I love
day.
it.
Yeah.
So that is for me. It's always the morning.
Yeah, I hear Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo at 50 Minutes playing in the back right now. Like,
no, I'm thinking of like Cinderella when she goes to the ball and the birds were putting the dress on.
Right.
Oh yes, everything.
Yeah. The mice is putting her shoes on. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for the day.
Nice.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Like, everything is helping me.
Yeah. So number 9. When you're working on new blends, do you prefer to work on that new blend or launch the new blend? What do you enjoy more?
That's actually a really good question. Not like actually, but it is. It kind of my first inclination would be to say to work on it. But
number 1 for me.
Number 2 for me.
Number two for me for sure.
I enjoy it, but I mean, dude, when you're going through the process of
but
that's tough, dude.
Yeah, it is. But to me, to share that information, to share that story, gets me more excited. That first meeting. Okay, what's the plan? What we're going to work on? Go to the factory, start that process. That's great. I love that. I love that. But that is my kind of my second child. You know, you're always going to have the first child.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
But Sean, it would be still number 1, working on the project.
Well, because when you say launch it, I mean, there's a lot of nuts and bolts to that, right? It's not just if you say, hey, just airdrop me into the event to smoke the cigars with the consumers there. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm there for that. But there's a lot of nuts and bolts behind that as well, you know. So I mean, I love it all, but I don't know, man. And maybe right now I'm more than anything, I'm missing the ability to go down to the factory and so I don't know.
Maybe the answer to my question, I think I'm going to be able to get to the factory before I get to events live. So I just miss live events, sharing the stories. So that I think comes to my mind first.
Yeah.
All right. So number 10, do you prefer smoking a cigar, doing some work, just watching TV, or with a group of friends?
Wait, share.
So what do you, when you just going to enjoy a cigar, do you prefer to work on, some work, or just do your own thing, or smoke with friends?
So it's 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say 3 for me. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
I'm not typically I'm not a good alone smoker. I'm edgy. I'm kind of like missing that connection. So I don't enjoy my cigar as much as when I have somebody to enjoy. It could be one guy, it could be 15 guys.
Man, you sound so needy.
No, bro, I guarantee you, my mother left me in that crib 1 minute too long, and I was just screaming.
Somebody love me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I actually really enjoy smoking a cigar while I'm working. In fact, I did it this afternoon because it's been so nice out. I just come out to the patio and I'll answer emails and smoke a cigar. And it's very enjoyable. It's very relaxing, but I wouldn't choose smoking a cigar and working over choosing smoking a cigar and hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
But it is a very different experience. I would choose cigar and working over choosing a cigar in solitude because I like I don't know, the activity of doing something, and it kind of just it makes the day go by quickly. But
I really can't think of a time where I'm ever smoking a cigar and not doing something though.
yeah,
Yeah.
Smoking a
No,
cigar,
you're working, you're watching, you're reading,
I'm reading,
entertaining,
I'm
you
just
know.
sitting, smoking a cigar and just kind of, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys, when I asked kind of this question to the fans of CEO, a lot of people respond, bro, I love to go over my our deck at the end of the night and just check out, check my emails, smoke a cigar, and just relax. And I get through this email.
But that's not doing nothing. That's checking emails. That's
exactly.
Exactly.
I would say that's working. So that's, to me, would be one. You enjoy number one. You love to enjoy your cigar and work.
Even if it's just smoking a cigar and like putzing around on your phone, you're still doing something. I know Rick, we have like 2 or 3 more questions left, correct?
Yeah, I would do it. 2 questions left.
Okay, there's just one question I want to answer quickly from the comment section. Rick was asking about cellophane or non-cellophane for cigars. I know we had touched on it, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, but all of our opinions were basically like cellophane if you're using them as everyday smokables, no cellophane if you're aging, correct?
Yes.
That was the consensus.
Yes, and if you have the situation that you can divide your naked cigars, because you don't want 2 styles like a mild cigar touching a full body cigar. They're going to interact. So if you have the ability to separate your cigars in your humidor, take the cello out, because that cedar really interacts with your that's the reason we make humidors with cedar.
You get the plume.
Yes. So
absolutely always separate flavored and non-flavored cigars.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Never let them cohabitate.
And why would you be aging flavored cigars anyway?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying if you're keeping them
in your humidor. Yeah. All right. So number 11. If you have to go out to dinner with someone, would you prefer to take out your number 1 account or your number 1 fan?
I don't personally use the word fan, but I get what you're asking.
Yeah.
So I would say I would like to take out the number 1 enthusiast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
I would say number 1 for me. Number 1. Yeah. I would say number 1 because that guy will help me. If I had that dinner with him to explain what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and he really listens and takes that information back to the shop, he has the ability to share that story with so many other people, then the number 1.
But the reality is, if he is really your number 1 retailer, at some point, you're going to take him out to dinner or have a drink. Or there are more opportunities for us to interact with our key retailers, whether it be at trade shows, whether it's at TAA, whether you're there, you got like, I've taken big retailers out for dinner along with, a few of their key employees. So there's more opportunity for us to kind of, have that activity with them. But it's pretty rare that you can say a guy who's a really, really, really big CAO fan gets to go out to dinner with Rick Rodriguez.
If I could change my answer a little bit, it wouldn't be taking out one specific fan. It would be taking out a group of your top Macanudo supporters.
Yeah, whatever it is. But I mean, I think that's the thing that would be the special thing. Not that, obviously taking our retailers out or doing something retail special, but we have opportunities to do that. Opportunities present themselves to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So second and last question, and if you don't want me to ask the last question, I understand. But the second
Well, we don't know what it is.
Yeah. So the what? What?
Hey, Rick, as
rule?
long as you know that you still have to answer it as well.
Yeah. So, which rule would you more likely break when you're traveling? Smoking a cigar in your rent-a-car, or stealing something from your hotel room, like a towel, a wine glass, a TV, a piece of furniture?
That's easy. That's easy.
I mean,
That's easy.
Rick, I don't know about you because I've seen you take a bathrobe, but also smoke a cigar in your car.
I had that down to a science.
I do too, bro. I do too.
I can write a book on how to do that, man.
Yeah. All right. So that is the rule you're going to break. I agree. I break it every time I rent a car. I'll share my secrets with you guys when you're turning or rent a car, and if you forget to the night before you turn your car in, pull into McDonald's, order 2 bags of fries, one to eat and one to shove in the back seat of your car, because when you go downstairs and open that car, it smells like McDonald's. I don't care how many people are choking out cigars in that car, you're not going to smell. Or you can, if you forget the French fries.
Don't tell them all of the secrets.
Not all the,
if you
forget it. Don't incriminate yourself, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to tell a quick story about when I first started with the company. I was doing an event at a Jungle Gyms in Ohio with Rick and Jack Tarano. And it was for St. Patrick's Day, and they were making fish sandwiches. And we were all going out to dinner after this event. And Rick was like, girl, you need to get a fish sandwich. I was like, I don't want a fish sandwich. And he kept like badgering me to get the sandwich. I was like, I don't want it. So I finally get it. We're in the car, and I was like, okay, I'm grabbing it out of the car. And Rick's like, no, girl, leave it in the car. And I was like, ew, why? He's like, because you need to leave the fish sandwich overnight in the car, so my car smells like old fish instead of cigar. Like, oh.
And we turned that car in. Thank you, sir, for
like a giant fish fillet. That's funny.
All right, we'll end this with this question. We tried on a flight, and the 2 pilots died. I don't know why they died. So we're in the back of the plane, and we're now realizing the plane is going down. And we realized when we ran to the back of the plane, there's only 2 parachutes. There's 3 people.
So 3 people?
Well, it's going to be you, me, and Sean. So who are you going to give the other parachute to, and what do you do? What would you do? You have 2 parachutes.
Answering this question, Sean gets the other parachute because he did not ask us this question.
My girl.
Rick, Sean.
Okay.
No. Sean, who are you going to choose?
Choose
well,
wisely.
you lived a longer life than us, so.
So I'm out 2 times.
I have a lot of years to live.
So my answer would be, I would give you guys both your parachutes because, Sean, I have lived a longer life than you guys. So I'll go down with the plane, and you guys carry on. So thank you so much.
Honestly, if I'm ever facing that dilemma, I'm in trouble anyway, because I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Oh my God.
Talking about a major case of survivor's remorse, man. That'd be tough.
Rick, I think that you and I could share a parachute.
Yeah, maybe. I'll definitely jump out after you guys. But
yeah, you can do like a tandem jump.
Yeah. Okay, 2 parachutes and 3 people. We could make that shit work. It would support us.
Nobody can share a parachute with me though. That'd be.
But any more questions and all that from anybody? Laura, I'm done.
I think want to ask?
No. Somebody just commented that Enterprise Rental is not going to be happy about hearing this. But no.
Enterprise, no problem.
Yeah, we don't get them. We rent with them. I'm not going to tell you who I rent with.
Oh, we know who you rent with.
Yeah.
But no, we answered all the
We love
questions.
National
And
Car Rental. They're the best.
Yeah.
yeah,
Budget.
Budget. Dollar. It's
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah, Fox.
But again, we
Fox.
touched on
You
this.
never read it for Fox, right?
Yeah.
No, this was
only cars from the 80s.
oh my God, this was super fun. I enjoyed this as always.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. And guys, again, we test based last week a lot about this. There's so much information on the cigar world. If you're not really using that site for information for anything, like Laurel brought up last week, it's not only about General Cigar and what we make. There's so much information out there for you to enjoy. Please do yourself a favor and visit that shop once in a while, because I think it's going to be your number one go-to site in the future of asking or wanting information of cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And next week, our topic is cigars and pop culture.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So tune in for that episode.
Yeah,
all right.
I'll be here for that. Yeah.
All right. I'll be here too. How convenient. Rick, will you be here?
I think we just committed to the end of October, right?
Yeah.
We all
And I'll bring a parachute for you, Rick.
Yeah.
Some parachute pants.
Yeah. A little
you know what? Planes are mostly on autopilot. I bet between the three of us, we could figure out how to land that thing.
No, flying is not the problem. Landing is the problem.
Right. If we have YouTube, I think we're going to survive.
There you go.
Wasn't there that story of that guy who stole a plane in Seattle because he played like flight simulator games? He had never actually flown before, but he was able to fly a plane.
And
he did 2 loops, and the second loop he miscalculated and crashed. But he did the first one, right?
I don't remember how it transpired, but like there was a big chase.
I don't know the story, but I promise you, he didn't land the plane.
No, he did one too many
That's
loops.
a particular skill set, right?
I think he crashed in the ocean, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
all
he
right, guys.
had So anyway, thank you guys.
Next week.
I love you guys, and great show. And then I'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Later.
All right, guys.
Adios.
Bye.